Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 4pixels. Coco and Kimi are here with our guests, Leifele from Cacophony of Games and Buttons. We are continuing the letter.
Yes, we are. A grin is back on her face when she leaves and closes the door behind her. For a little while after we're left alone, Ash goes wholly quiet, listening, waiting for her remaining footsteps in the hall to fade. The earlier amusement is gone from his face, replaced by what I can only describe as trepidation. I know that look all too well. When he's like this, he's expecting shit about to go down at some point soon.
That wasn't very nice, Ash. What was that with Isabella earlier? You're usually subtler with your questions.
They hired you.
Hired me who? Don't change the subject yet. What's really going on here?
The Wrights. Luke and Hannah Wright. You said your next gig is with them.
Is that what this is all about?
Just be careful around them. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to that couple. I'd rather you stay as far away from them as possible, but you're already here. Isabella's their real estate agent. Seriously, of all the people in Luxburn.
Okay. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
He nods, claps a comforting hand on my back, and turns to leave without another word. He's never been good with those. More often he fumbles with what he wants to say, but his actions alone are enough to tell me how grateful he is for the trust. He reaches for the knob as soon as he gets to the door, but doesn't turn it. Instead, he looks back and gestures with his head towards the table. I don't need to follow his line of sight to know what he's going to ask about. He's likely taking notice of it the moment he entered the room.
You back on those? I haven't seen you taking them in a year.
Yeah, I kinda had to. It got worse after the film fest. The dreams, that is. I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon.
Aww.
Oh no!
Poor baby.
Heard about that. Don't drop it though. You don't want Becca scolding you. She actually enjoyed the movie you made, and she's hard to please. Consider that a small victory.
You don't have to tell me. She already did. Rebecca and Bella both gave me an earful after I said the opposite. Promised them I wouldn't, but you can never tell. Hopefully, once I feel better, I'll be able to think about it properly. Speaking of Bella, she didn't open up to me, but maybe with you and Rebecca.
Yeah, I'll try. I can't promise anything, but I'll talk to her.
Leave it to Becca.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's all I'm asking.
This time, when he reaches for the door, he lets it close fully behind him without glancing back. A mild draft sweeps into the room as I close the door behind him, slightly disturbing the papers on the nearby fridge.
No! Not the perfect cinnamon roll. You leave him alone.
Wow.
Ashton arrived to fetch Isabella hours later, but she didn't want to leave after all the food they had prepared. In the end, Ashton acquiesced and stayed. The Wrights and Zach's upcoming gig were the few topics touched during their talk over breakfast.
A lone note flutters by my feet, the letters on the surface glaring at me with mute intensity. Er, p- After Ash's warnings, they all hold a different meaning now. The next 2 days rushed by in a blur, altogether leaving a collected mess of work suddenly piling up and new unexpected acquaintances. Or friends. Depends on how you look at it, really. Either way, I'm stuck developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by an overeager art director.
No.
Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has a vision, and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be too enthusiastic at sometimes.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
There is nothing new in it, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I have grown used to. Get to know people, build a client base, do good work and cash in some late hours if need be. Rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's the kind of thing that pays off in the long run as long as you keep at it. Given enough time, you may end up with big names on your client list. Names like the Wrights in particular. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when a local news channel or paper has something to say in their name. A party here, an accusation there. Sometimes it's a new business venture, other times it's the everyday gossip that typically follows popular people like them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine I would end up working for such a high-profile couple. And between that and the fuss that comes with it leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabella or why Ash is so adamant we keep away from the pair.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
One of them, anyway.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, you only met Hannah.
Sure, there was a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. But just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came of it, and eventually it simply died down.
Wow, I am so shocked that he was involved in a scandal.
Wow. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Miss Wright will pick him if he doesn't have any good points at all. Or if he doesn't know how to pretend that he has good points.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Wright, Hannah herself, though. She ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. The tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, the newfound friendship is what I'd less expect from her, but here we are.
Aww.
Although with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's a woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick.
Zach, you are perfect.
Hiss.
Yeah, he is. Dang.
Yep.
I can't help but feel sorry for her. She's a real nice person when given the chance. Heck, she might have even ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabella too, if they weren't living worlds apart. That's what you think.
Little do you know.
Probably. The beep quickly pulls me back before my thoughts travel any further. In one practice motion, I carefully place the wet print I'm holding on a drying rack and amble over my makeshift darkroom to get the last photos from the water bath. Inside the converted broom closet, the film processor lets out another soft clack before going on its standby mode. At its mouth, a lone photograph sits on the tray, barely visible with the lack of light. It's the last one tonight for the set Miss Ryder requested. I don't usually make this a habit, giving away stuff that is. It's bad for the business, no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are.
Get the feeling you're not going to want to give this one away.
Yeah.
This exception, however, she did treat me well and was a pleasant companion all through the shoot.
How's the spooky music, Coco?
I was
Nothing
just
yet.
about to ask that.
Nothing yet.
Even if she didn't ask, I would have probably given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Miss Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with.
Truth.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is just me, but for someone who has everything at the palm of her hands, all the money in the world, a loving husband, you're sure, and a plenty big mansion to call home, she's lonely. Give me a second.
Nail on the head.
Okay, sorry about that. She doesn't just appear like it. It shows in the tone of her voice, how she moves, and most certainly in her smiles. Always hidden behind the glamour for the world to never see. Sometimes for people like her, small things like this helps. A little reminder that the world can be kind too. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on another tray holding a decent amount of photo flow. A few seconds under the solution is all it needs before it's ready for drying. No good rushing this last one, even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze. My hand fumbles for the light switch, moving towards it with familiarity, while I fish for a squeegee
Yep.
among the mess of tools on a drawer with the other. The bulb flickers twice before its glow settles and casts a soft light in the tiny space. When I glance back down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process and finally call it a night,
What on earth?
Ooh.
her head is
dang.
gone.
Oh, dang.
Blurred and distorted beyond recognition, rather. The area completely smudged over, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile the good woman carried in all the previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
A common mistake to make, of course, if one is negligent enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark, like I apparently did. It has happened before. Loads of times, actually. But I still can't help but feel a small pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make.
So, if I remember correctly, that's the scene where Zach saw the ghost lady
Yep.
wrapped
should
around
be.
her neck.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like really heavily alluded to.
I think that is supposed to be that scene.
Yeah.
Because the stairs.
Yeah.
With a sigh, I reach up for the switch again, intending to develop a new one from scratch.
It could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
Ah ha 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 ha.
A memory clicks. One cursory thought in the sea of many, and a short yet distinct second from the day before. A glimpse is all I got, but it's enough to burn the image in my mind. There was a shadow. No,
Oh.
QT! No!
a woman. In her 20s or early 30s, maybe?
Oh my god, is that her brain?
Yep, I was looking at
Yeah.
that too.
Jesus fuck!
But with how far gone her flesh alone has become, it's not possible to tell at first glance. The skin itself has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and
Lesion?
lesion on her body. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bony hands grip Miss Wright's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills a gleam in her eyes.
Zachary,
Not for me, but for Miss Wright.
Zach, is something the matter?
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
I'm glad that didn't turn out to actually be a QTE.
Yo.
I mean, it was a memory, so.
Yeah, but I don't trust this game not to alter things in the past.
The memory alone is enough to make me red. I'll brush it off then. A trick of the eye, I told myself. Or a product of the heat. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising for such things to happen.
Yeah, it still would be.
Yeah.
Shh. Well, blaming this on the usual. Fatigue.
Fatigue?
Fatigue?
Yep.
Okay. Kinda sounded more French to me. Fatigue, an overworked brain, the weather, or an amateur error on my part, is far more convenient.
That's fair now.
It makes a whole lot of sense than what the small voice inside my head whispers. The same tiny voice that only makes itself known when something's a fool. The same one that lent a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. And with each second I spend staring at this photograph, the murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ears. Someone has to know.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Now this. Usually
This
I'm.
is a choice.
Yeah, like usually I know exactly what I want, but this
Ooh.
one.
Should we? There was a journal entry, no?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
check
there
it.
was.
Like
There
I
was
wanted
a
to
journal
wait.
entry.
I wanted
Make
to.
sure it's not a spoiler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Check it quick, see if there's nothing.
October 27th. Alright, yeah. Some
We're
of
good.
Hana's
We're-
shots from the photo shoot the day before came out distorted after Zachary developed them. He would have almost dismissed it as human error if he hadn't remembered a chilling memory from yesterday's shoot.
So, I
Hmm.
think that showing it to Ash would be useless.
Yeah, I don't think that was.
Really? Because I think the opposite.
Hmm.
I mean,
Well-
yeah, and what would be the point of showing it to Hannah?
Well, we already know as storytellers, or readers rather, Hannah's already had her interaction with the ghost, even if she's only seen it twice.
Yeah.
And based on Hannah's story, this theoretically,
twice?
him showing it to her, should be later than her freak out at the wine cellar.
Hmm.
I think, well, because I'm pretty sure that right now we're before the housewarming party.
Yes.
And as
Huh.
we've also kind of learned, just because we didn't see it in their storyline doesn't mean it didn't happen.
True.
Yeah.
That we might see it in someone else's storyline.
Man, I'm really torn because I feel like for Hannah it would be beneficial for her to be able to tell someone else like that the shit's going down. And I feel like Ash is just gonna brush it off as being a technical error.
Yeah, I don't feel it. I don't really feel it be good or useful on any end. Like because as you said, like Ash probably will be like whatever. But like, what's the point on scaring
Well,
Hannah even
okay.
more?
I honestly doubt that Zach would be like, here, check out this weird ass photo and not say a single thing about the event that caused it.
Good point.
Because Zach and
yeah.
Ash are best friends, and I think Zach would end up saying that, you know, when I took this photo, something really weird happened. I saw something extremely strange. So, like, that's kind of what I'm thinking is that Zach would actually talk to Ash about it. What Ash would do about it is kind of up in the air because, again, it sounds like he's investigating at the very least Luke.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To be
He might
fair,
take it. Oh, sorry.
to be fair, I think he might give Zach the benefit of the doubt more that he would than like say Isabella, who he
Yeah,
That
already
and
was
believes.
yeah.
it may actually help also for him to start believing Isabella a little more.
Whereas I think
Like
with
if Zach is like, hey, maybe she wasn't just making stuff up or hallucinating.
yeah, whereas with telling Hannah, just I mean, yeah, it'll probably reinforce what Hannah ended up seeing eventually. But even throughout Hannah's entire story, she kind of, for the most part, was brushing off all the encounters that she had with the ghost,
Oh
with the
yeah.
exception of the very last one. When she saw the ghost in the mirror, she was just like, it's a horrible painting. Why would anyone put that up? And then it disappeared, and she's like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. It's like, sure, whatever. It's like, Hannah, please. You just saw a fucking painting turn into a mirror. Are you just tired?
Yeah, I
And then the
guess
creepy ass dreams. And what was the other encounter that she had before the wine cellar?
Well,
the first wine
there were
cellar.
2 wine
The front
cellars.
one,
Yeah.
yeah.
But she didn't actually see the ghost in the first wine cellar. She just heard the crying
Yeah.
Right.
because we didn't
But then
bother to try and open it.
it suddenly stopped, and Johannes was like, "Look, it's locked." And after that, she was like, "Oh well, I guess I just had an auditory hallucination this time."
And
Yeah.
she also had the dream, didn't she? Or
Oh
But in the
yeah,
dream, she didn't see anything, did she?
yeah, she
yeah,
did. She saw like the woman
the
screamed and
ghost.
reached out towards her.
Ah,
From the wine cellar, yeah.
that was the first dream, yeah. Because I could have sworn she had 2 dreams like that, but
But yeah,
I
and,
may be wrong.
and also like, well, Zack doesn't know that, and like, will Zack just show that to her, like, knowing that it probably used to scare her off?
That's true.
Well, I mean, the option's there.
My
All right. I'm
gut
gonna throw my
leaning
vote in
feeling-
for Ash.
Yeah.
My gut feeling says show it to Ash and don't show it to Hannah. Because I don't
Yeah,
think, I actually think Hannah will not be useful in
Okay.
this.
I've
Yeah,
been
and,
convinced by y'all's logic.
and
Yeah.
also like, we know the ghost is around Hannah, and
Yeah.
how will the ghost react to Zack showing that photo to her?
Yeah, because he made a very interesting remark about how the ghost showed no hostility towards him, only Hana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm literally just imagining a ghost looking at the photo and being like, oh my god, my hair looks terrible. Darn it.
How dare you!
All right.
So-
Well,
It sounds like all of us are now on board for Ash.
yes, but
Don't
we will
disappoint us,
leave that
Ash!
for the next episode.
Oh, you're killing me, Small.
See you guys next time.
Bye bye.
Coco's horrible.
As the priest's footsteps faded away, the entire church fell into silence. Now that it was the dead of night, the clouds covered the sky. Barely a silver sliver of moonlight filtered through the stained glass. The girl sat alone in a ring of darkness. She opened her mouth. No, I know. If I may say my piece, surely. Yes. Yes, Mother. But he is so very kind. And we have our first choice. Would you like to make this, since I made it on my last when I tested the game out?
Sure. Whose perspective is this response?
I believe this is from the mother.
Uh. Uh. Well, the most reasonable response is I fear for your safety. So let's just go with there for now.
Okie doke. Child, follow mother's words and leave. You saw the look in his eyes, didn't you? You cannot stay here. Even a man of God can stain you with the filthiest colors. Be a good girl and follow mother's words. But it is cold outside, Mother. The rain has not let up. Can't I stay?
Let's go with all right. I mean, I was concerned for her safety, hoping that that would imply that she was gonna stay here instead of among the ruffian
Ruffians.
rapists.
I suppose you can.